All right, today we've got Bryce Morrison with BryceTime.com, and we're starting out with a purpose defined by Bryce as, my sole purpose is to maximize the ability of each of my real estate agents to reach their intended audiences and grow their net worth exponentially. So Bryce, like we talked about pre-recording here, that's obviously a little deeper than most people start, right? Some people are starting kind of in that range of, I like to help people. So we're going to work through giving you the benefit of the doubt there. So I do want to hear where that comes from for you. Where does that defined purpose come from?
I think it begins with my background. I went straight into the military when I graduated high school, and I had already been in sales of the retail kind before the military, and then found leadership within the Navy. And even while I was in the Navy, I did some sales on the side. And then when I left the Navy, I went back into sales and I took leadership roles in sales afterward. And what I found was I really enjoyed teaching and leading salespeople. I enjoyed sales, but I got bored with it very quickly. Once I figured out the formula, once I figured out how to sell something, I got bored and I wanted more of a challenge. So I figured out the deeper layer was, how do I get this person to be better at selling this other person? So there's a psychology to it. If I can figure out this person and their personality and how they would interact with this other personality, then it's more interesting to me. It's like a puzzle. So that leadership aspect of it, that interest in the teaching is what drives me.
Okay. So really kind of where you're coming from with that on your side is interest and enjoyment.
Absolutely.
Okay.
It's a passion.
So what other things do you have interest in and enjoy?
I love to cook. I actually love movies. I I love my wife and my family, my little dog. So those kind of things.
So it sounds like you've got a couple other
I love
things.
travel.
Travel too. Okay. So sounds like you've got a couple other things there that you have passion around as well. So when you define what, where I asked you to define it in one sentence, if someone would ask you, you put in there that my sole purpose. I would argue that what you just told me, even after just one question, now you've opened this up to, okay, maybe there is more than just one, right? Maybe, the family may come in there first, it might not just be the agents, it might be teaching, it might be enjoyment, and there's a lot of things that can come into that. So I would challenge your purpose a bit here and say, when I asked you that, why is that your purpose? And so we went down to that next level of, okay, enjoyment. Okay, well, why do you enjoy teaching? Why do you enjoy the growth factor of that? Because I'm sure you apply that into, you're learning and teaching cooking, you're learning and teaching about your family. So with that coming into play, why do you enjoy that so much?
I think it's a matter of, I've figured out sharing all of those things can be done in a professional way as well. So as an example, we're running a competition right now. If my agents get a certain number of listings, I'm going to take them out. And I gave them a survey and said, what do you guys want to do? I gave them a list of different options and gave them the ability to throw other things in there if they wanted to. They came up with a sunset cruise. But one of the things I put in there was a cooking class, and that came in second. So, it's things like that. If I share a passion, I want to share it with them. So it's just travel, the sunset cruise, it's things that if it interests me and I can bring it into my profession as well, if I can combine those passions and I can find others that combine those passions, we all win.
So you're definitely creating different ways to do that. So now we've got enjoyment, fun, interest, and also some combining aspect of there. So you're sort of creating in that aspect. So in your business, what do you do obviously you're creating, that kind of thing. I see the wordsmith up there with the Real Training Institute. So obviously you're bringing something in, you've got the interesting, the digital background there with with what you got going on there. How does that part come into play with what you're doing now as well?
My background, I went into journalism in high school, and I guess, and I somehow ended up in a competition for business law, even though I never even studied it. I somehow spelling and things, words came easy to me. And I even studied Latin in college, but all that happened after, college happened after the military. And even in the military, I was criticized for using $10 words. My vocabulary just happened to be a little bit more advanced. And I actually had to figure out how to speak in a different way in a lot of occasions, a lot of different situations. But what it does allow me to do is it allows me to write. It allows me to do a lot more social media. It allows me to communicate in ways that get through to others, and use NLP. And my background, when I was in the military, one of the things I did, I was a substance abuse counselor, and we were taught cognitive behavioral therapy. So that enters into the way I communicate. So I'm able to use those things to help people make decisions that are right for them. And that allows me to help my agents communicate in a better way to guide their clients. So that's where the wordsmith comes from. And now in the digital age with AI and social media, I'm using all of that to facilitate every bit of it.
The words, obviously, being able to communicate that piece that's important, revolving around what you said your passion is being able to teach them, right? Because everybody's at a different level. To me, a lot of this stuff comes off as you enjoy the challenge of that aspect. Now, how does some of this stuff apply in the family life of what you're currently going through? I don't know your family situation or anything, but what, with because you did mention family, how does some of this stuff apply in your family aspect?
Well, my wife and I are empty nesters now. So, we actually really enjoy travel. So we actually own a travel agency as well. And we take advantage of that every opportunity we get. We take 3 or 4 cruises a year and do some other travel whenever we can. But we work together a lot. And when we're not working together, we enjoy movies and cooking together. So as far as family is concerned, and every function, every business event that we have, we go together. So we just commingle our professional and personal lives. For us, that works. It doesn't work for everybody. A lot of people cannot do that. And in some ways, we struggled with it early on, but we figured out how to make it work. We separate certain things and we keep other things very close.
So a lot of the same things in the family then. Obviously, I'm at a little different stage with the empty nester piece. I do have my first ones on the way, actually. So pretty excited about that. But being able to relate to that empty nester part, I kind of did it in reverse, right? Like I'm almost 35 now and don't have any children. So, I've been kind of experiencing those travel aspects in that regard too. So I fully understand that, like, being able to mix things and being able to get out there and, especially with not having, for you not having the children to watch anymore, that makes it a little bit easier to commingle those things. And I'm sure some of those struggles early on in that probably had something to do with being able to have the kids taken care of and making sure everything was taken care of at home as well. What's the let's see, how do your agents change or transform as a result of what you give them in the coaching aspect or the guidance aspect?
I'll give you one really clear example. I have one agent that is English as a second language, and that can be a little bit of a struggle in communication. So utilizing AI, I actually built her a bot that is custom to her for her to do her social media and even blog. So now she's able to better communicate who she is and what her interests are to the world and draw people closer to her and bring leads to her in a refreshing way without feeling like she's behind the 8 ball. So that's one really simple way that I've been able to take what I know and utilize that.
So revolving around the purpose, obviously that helps her reach an intended audience. As an overreaching type statement, how would you say, like, how would you summarize how you do that for everyone? Is it simply like utilizing technology, or is it utilizing skill sets that you have to institute some technology, or is the technology just a byproduct of some of that?
I think it's a combination, because I couldn't build the bot without the knowledge that I already have. The quote unquote wordsmith within me, that's what allows me to build the bot, because it's all the wordsmith behind the scenes that builds it. So everything that I put into the bot is what takes what she says and turns it into the great social media post. It's also understanding NLP, understanding what the audience needs to hear, understanding the market. We've got some events coming up. Some of our agents have already run some events, and paying attention to marketing trends, things like that, understanding that current trends say that titles can't be longer than 6 words, things like that. I keep on top of all of that so that my agents don't have to.
And so since you say that, are you enabling them or encouraging them or guiding them to be able to get those answers on their own if they're wanting them? Or is it something you're just like, okay, here's what I know and I deposit it when I need to?
All of my agents are extremely independent. None of them need me, and they've all been successful without me. And I'm here for them when they want me.
And then to somewhat summarize all of that stuff, what and I know that you coming into this, your thought on this was that you're maximizing the ability of each of the real estate agents to reach their intended audiences. But I think there's a bigger picture here, and I want to see if you're putting that together or where you're at with this. But what is one of the largest global challenges you wish to resolve or work on moving forward?
I am so glad you asked. This was the one thing that I was hoping we'd talk about today. I really want to get rid of this idea in the real estate community right now that we have to bash somebody else. Right now, anybody and everybody out there has decided that the best way for them to get ahead is to trash someone else, whether it's trash another style of brokerage, or trash another agent, or trash the way an agent goes about their business. Whatever it is, that other way is the wrong way. And I'm so tired of it. I believe, and I teach, I do a speaking engagement that's about edification. And to me, that's one of those $10 words that I was talking about earlier. To me, edification is absolutely the epitome of what we should be doing as an organization, as a team. And I do believe that real estate agents are a team, and we should be. We should all be lifting each other up. Every brokerage has something to offer someone. There's no reason why every brokerage should be bashing each other. My brokerage is not for everyone. It is not. There are a lot of agents out there that do not want to work with me, and I don't want to work with them. And that's okay. And I will help them find the right broker for them. I will help them find the right brokerage. But I don't have to bash any other brokerages to get any agents to come work for me. I want to edify the agents. I want to edify other brokerages. I want to edify real estate in general. Let's talk about what's great about everything that we're doing. Even these lawsuits are driving me nuts. Come on, guys. Let's quit trashing each other.
Think
That's where I'm at.
man, the passion that came out from when you started talking about that, and this is not an if or, right? Like, or an and or, right? Like, you can have both, but I'm like feeling that from you. Like, I got goosebumps because we're on the same page with that, right? Like, I felt the passion come through the screen to me. I'm going to argue that your deeper purpose is in that. And that definitely comes out in the helping your agents find their intended audience because of the, that's the skill set you have, right? That might not be the ultimate passion or the ultimate purpose. And so us going down a couple of layers here, getting through some of that noise, arguably the way that you just presented that to me, you have that to project outwards. And like, that's where your core is I want to help people recognize that we are one industry, not 1,800 companies fighting against each other for the same apple, right? There's a stat that's out there that's floating around right now that 49% of agents last year did 0 or 1 transaction. And it's because they don't have people at the top that are telling them that they can learn from those other people, even though they're in their brokerage. And there's people
Absolutely
chasing that 100% model and that getting out of a team model. And if you look at any company ever, what do they have? They have teams. They have, like, if you're watching, if you go back to when computers were coming in, right, in the late 80s, early 90s, when they were talking about getting those computers into everyone's homes, Apple was leading the way, right? Macintosh at the time, leading the way. IBM said, yep, we're going to talk about the same things that Apple or that Macintosh is talking about. We want a computer in everybody's home. I'm not going to say I'm better than Macintosh. We want a computer in everybody's home. And Dell didn't do that. They took the other route of, okay, we're going to compete against IBM. Well, yeah. Guess what happened? IBM took off very quickly because they went with the marketing, and then Dell just did not compete in that market. Now they're that subsidiary, basically lower level computer because of that for the most part. So 100% agree with you on that piece. And what I would, challenge you to do after we get off the call here, and I'll put some of this into kind of a summary piece for you to kind of, process through you, because I think you're somebody that does a lot of thinking and a lot of processing and that kind of stuff. But coming to that and rebuild that purpose statement around that edification piece, as you say, like, I think you can have like a much more powerful purpose that sets you apart versus I want to help agents reach their audience. You have that extra level of like, this is what really matters, and this is how I'm going to do it. And yeah. I think that's there, and I saw it come out of you like soon. And right when I asked that question, you were like, okay, I got this one, and so you already knew it, and now I think it's front and center for you.
Two quick things about what you just said. One, you mentioned 49%, I think you said, that are 0 to 1 transaction. Where that comes from, there's two reasons. One, they have no pride. And, everybody talks about pride in yourself. It's not just pride in yourself. And this is where most brokerages make a mistake. They focus on take pride in yourself. They need to take pride in the brokerage. They need to be proud of where they're at. And if they're not proud of where they're at, then they're not going to grow. You need to figure out what your culture looks like. You need to make them feel proud of where they're at. Then they'll grow. I've seen it over and over again in sales. Somebody comes into a business as a salesperson. The first 90 days, they blow it up. And then if they don't stay proud, they lose it. They don't do any more sales. They can't succeed. And then they're gone after a year. But the only reason is because they lost their pride. Why? Because they lost hope. So as long as you keep that culture there and they keep the pride, they'll keep going. Anyway, the second thing is, you mentioned that it's the fact that they kind of stay alone. That's true. If you look at the top 500 agents anywhere in the country, they collaborate. They're not afraid of each other. They have an abundance mentality. They work together. They don't fear each other at all. It's the lower echelon. They struggle to be around other agents. They won't even go to other events where other agents are. They're like, oh, why do I need to go there? There's other agents there. I'm not going to gain anything by being there. Of course you are. You're going to gain relationships. You're going to gain people that you can refer to. You're going to gain knowledge. You're going to be uplifted. But they don't see that. They think that's competition and they isolate themselves. Anyway.
Yeah, it's an interesting path there, because I just went to a Glover U event this past week, and there's 1,100 agents there. I may have been one of 3 mortgage brokers there. Like, it's just that it's not designed for mortgage broker, but that's why I went, because I'm kind of tired of the mortgage broker side of like, call agents, go take donuts. Like, that stuff sucks. So I know there's got to be a better way. So I went and tapped into the source, right? Like, I want to go talk to people that are doing business. And, it wasn't, the way that he presented everything, he gave it all away. Like, literally, you come to the conference and he literally tells you, here's 17 things that you need to do to sell 100 houses. Here's my schedule that I would do if I wanted to sell 100 houses. And then on the flip side of that, you mentioned like other agents being there, like there's no value in that. I'm going to, obviously argue that the entire value is in the people. Like, cool, you have a schedule. You're not going to do his schedule anyway. You're going to create your own version of it and create whatever form of success you want. But in those agents, there was actually 3 people that presented that were 100% referral agents. They've done nothing but go to conferences, create a network. She has an internal database of almost 7,000 realtors. And she lives in a vacation area.
Really?
Like, I think it was Virginia, Norfolk, Virginia. And all she does is accept referrals. That's her entire marketing platform. So, like you said, like, people just get scared of this. I think a lot of it is, yes, fear of the limitation, right? Like, if they get one, I won't get one. And then the other side is just not knowing that that opportunity even exists, because no one edifies. Like you're saying, edifying, like, you have to be able to see the whole spectrum to understand that there's a difference. And I think, like, getting back to you, like, that purpose piece, getting that message out there will draw the right people to you. And I'm sure you've seen a lot of that in the way that you present yourself. Like I said earlier, I think you've done a lot of this on your own, of drilling down into what your purpose and what you want to present as. But that messaging piece of getting that out there, I think you have a golden ticket to be able to attract the people that should be attracted. And I would encourage you to go scream it from the mountaintops, because I'll be up there with you.
I'm working on it, Ryan. Thank you.
No problem. All right, Bryce. Well, I appreciate your time today. And I'm looking forward to connecting with you in the future, and I'm sure we'll collaborate on some things. So I appreciate you.